the lawyer going to research to see what we need to do to make that happen, or do we need to contact Spicer? That's,
You don't really need research. I mean, the one thing that's bizarre is everybody up here, other than Shirley and I, can make a motion to create action. So if the board wants to vote to send that to the PC to incorporate the new definition into that ordinance, then you guys can do that. To take a look at modifying that.
so the planning, I would make a motion that we will send the
Well, hold on. Is there, and I apologize because I didn't have this for a great deal of time to study it. Is there a fine as part of this? Because that changes what type of ordinance it is, correct, Justin? If there's a fine in it, it becomes more of a police ordinance because now we actually have an enforcement piece involved. It's not simply zoning.
Well, the fine is irrelevant whether it's zoning
Okay.
or, but I believe Trustee Campbell said he wants it to be consistent.
Okay.
So the board has had a history of when they want consistency, sending it to the PC to say, what's your recommendation with this too? And if it's a police ordinance, they bring it back here, similar to recreational marijuana licenses. Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. Medical marijuana licenses, that's a police ordinance, and there's fines in that as well.
Okay.
But the prior administration, or quasi-prior administration, sent it to the PC saying, hey, you guys are reviewing the zoning, do you guys have any input? And if I remember correctly, the PC kind of said, hey, we don't have, this isn't within our jurisdiction, we appreciate the opportunity to opine on it, but we're good.
So it's not a requirement to send it to planning commission?
The medical marijuana licenses was not required because that's a police ordinance.
Okay. But parking would be a,
I'd have to look to see if that's incorporated in there because
I haven't had
the issue
that.
is there's a lot of times people will incorporate other things that are non-zoning in with zoning. So this is the first time I've heard that we even have a parking ordinance.
Well, it's dated effective July 2010.
And was given, you gave it to us.
It's been sitting in this office since 2010. So it's not something that was recreated. This is something that's been sitting here in this office since 2010. It was revised 12/12 of 2012. So it's already had one revision. It's part of the Calhoun County zoning ordinance.
And if it's incorporated into the zoning ordinance, it has to go
okay.
To the PC.
go back unless you guys want to carve that out and say, hey, this is not something, even though it is a use, because similar to cemeteries, that's the way land is used, but just because it's the way land is used doesn't mean it's a land use issue.
So do we need to make a motion to send this to the planning commission so that this parking ordinance can be dealt with? And if it needs to be, I would make the motion that this would get sent to the planning commission, and maybe it's something we may be able to entertain this month. Well, the planning commission's got a meeting on Thursday, we can go over what the ordinance is and see if it,
You want to add,
I'm just saying,
just want to add that it includes tourist dwelling? Is that what you're,
Well, it probably needs to be reviewed since.
it needs to be
it's
reviewed, but
pretty
we
old,
must be
right?
so you
sure
want,
that
you
tourist
want
dwellings
PC to review it and add tourist dwelling to it?
Review for revision.
modify
and
as
then
necessary.
tourist dwelling.
Yeah, because this board can't tell them they have to add it. They can ask them to incorporate their most recent decisions into it.
I will second that motion if you have it, Shirley.
I don't know.
Okay.
Is that going to be a?
Yes.
DeShano,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes.
Class.
Yes.
All right, new business. We got two estimate or proposals for the pest control here in township offices, the fire barn, the hall, and, one is from Orkin and the other one is from Griffin. I do not know Griffin, but it seems to me you looked it up, Griffin?
Molly looked it up and
Molly
they had
looked it up?
really bad reviews.
They had bad reviews.
Did anybody speak with Christina?
We did not, she wasn't here very long.
Well, she has her phone number right on here.
Well, this was the bid that she turned in.
I don't think they're local either.
Is Orkin local?
It would be an order.
Well, the person who takes care of us is fairly
I
local.
mean, we only have two, but not.
Saginaw?
Two,
Yeah.
or two
It's
ones.
not local.
That's where his office
He's
is.
from East,
I guess I don't know where Griffin is, I don't know. She doesn't say what her address is. She's a regional account executive. I don't know if I read her office hours.
734 zip code, that can't be too local.
Well, that area code, that could be a company phone, that doesn't necessarily mean that's where she
No,
lives.
she said her
Codes
zip,
don't mean much anymore.
Yeah.
the zip code though is, what'd you say it was?
Area code.
And the area code is
Oh, area code.
734.
Is the gentleman from Orkin an entomologist? Because Christine is. I just was curious if he's actually an entomologist. Because based on the information that I had received when this came up, we have not actually bid out the pest control for 21 years.
That's because we were more than happy with Orkin.
But to do apples to apples, it's half the price of Orkin. And to actually increase our services, it is less than $20 more a month for both buildings on a single solitary bill, rather than breaking it down into two. So we're talking considerably less money with more service, as well as a lot of different things that we can have a conversation about. At the last meeting, I brought this up as well, that she had specifically mentioned all of the bird droppings that we get under the overhang out there, because the birds nest up there. That's not anything that's ever been dealt with. Their droppings do have a lot of not so great stuff in it. We have the public coming in here. I just think that there are certainly some options that it would be worth looking into. 21 years without even getting a bid is not really due diligence. I understand that you create a relationship with the person who continues to get your checks every year. For 21 years, there's no competition. However, sometimes you have to look
Well,
at
other
other
than the bird
things.
droppings, I can't say as we've had a big problem here in the building with anything as far as rodents or ants or.
Although I realized he didn't put a bill in, I talked to the gentleman from Able when he had done the walkthrough, and he said actually all of the blue traps were full of a variety of different bugs when he was walking through. So, I mean, obviously there's some issue.
I just got a new pair of glasses. I didn't see any bugs here. They even caught a
That was
turtle.
the report that I had received from him when he walked through, so.
Well,
Do you know where
interestingly,
they're coming from?
actually, they cover pretty much the whole state of Michigan. I just looked it up. And
I
as you
didn't ask where
commented
they cover,
about
I said, do you
stars.
know where they come from?
And would you like me to call him real quick? I can.
Sure.
Because when you just made a comment, I decided to look up just how many stars Orkin has and how many stars we have.
Well, I
with-
only question where they
Griffin.
come from because it says in fine print here that they have the right to charge a surcharge, a fuel surcharge. So if they're gonna come from across the state and that's gonna be an extra cost, then in the end, it really might not be half the price.
Well, I just heard that Griffin isn't as good as Orkin, but guess what?
Going by what
Under Yelp, Orkin has a 1.5 rating and Griffin has a 3.5.
And
So,
in the fine print, it says they have a right to subcontract, so they might not even be the ones coming to do the work if they subcontract it out. And that's why I'm wondering where they're coming from. Are they gonna subcontract it out to someone who's in the area?
maybe they have 1099 employees like we do.
Maybe they'll hire Orkin.
Well, little would we know. I guess we should try them then, right?
Nope.
Okay, you already made your mind up, so make your motion.
What happened to the other people? They chose not to submit anything?
They didn't follow through,
Yeah,
and
they gave us
considering
something.
they said they would, I didn't think I should chase them down. You know, if they want the business, they
They
will
can
seek
come.
the business and they'll earn it.
So Orphan's got a 4.7 on Google, a 4.7 on Consumer Affairs, a 1.8 on Yelp. and
1.5 on my
Griffin
Yelp.
has a 2.0 on Yelp,
I'm just saying,
3.5 on no customer.
because we want to throw stones, it all depends what stones you're looking at there.
4.7 on Coors. I'm not trying to throw stones, I'm just saying I don't think we've had an issue with one.
Indeed's got a 3 on Orkin. There you go.
But we've also never checked the competition for 21 years.
I mean, I'd like to pay less for bug disposal than more. Why not get the best deal with the same
Well-
confidence?
Well,
And
I'm
then
not
review the
sure.
contract after we give them a try. If they're not
Right.
doing it, then we opt out. Monthly
Okay,
payment.
did you get a hold of them or no?
I sent her a text because it is after hours.
Well, this
To
one
see if she was
says
available.
$88, this one says
$67.
$67.
This one's 67.
That's
This
for,
one's 88.
that's for one building. The other building is another 67. So
Right.
that's, so if you add those together, that's $134 a month, which is what we just paid out. $134 a month, and even if we increase our services, their bid is $88 a month for both buildings. So we already have a savings.
Where does it say
Where does
both
it say on
buildings?
both
It says right here.
Hall, kitchen,
Um,
Right here, investment is $69 when you're comparing apples to apples. The recommended monthly would be $89 or $88.
But I don't see where it says both
It's,
buildings.
it is on
The
here.
$88 is talking about the kitchen at the hall, so this has gotta be the hall. they're
No,
talking
it is both. All locations on single invoice. It says it on this page here that has the timeline.
Yeah, but,
All locations on single invoice.
birds are roosting at the moon. The interesting thing is, it says 2 road devices, 2 monitoring traps,
IPM program.
2 monitoring hall, kitchen, and move boards for the other areas. Well, you know what? They'll use a numbering barcode and monthly monitoring of all devices, electronic data collection, online account access, pre-audit inspections, on-site log books to facilitate communications between you and your Griffin team. Clearly communicate your IPM program and satisfy your records.
Well,
It's a savings of over $550 a year. That's pretty significant.
Putting
I
out-
don't see where that says both buildings.
I just showed you what page it was on.
Well, it says they're all gonna be on one bill.
Right, that's the only estimate in here.
It says right here, I just read it. It says that the service includes an IPM program with logbooks, 2 exterior rodent devices per building, 2 devices per building, and monitoring traps for the garage, 2, and 2 monitoring traps for the hall kitchen, and blue boards for other areas.
So the monitoring traps are actually a harder plastic one, because she had commented that in areas where it might get wetter, where you have more traffic, like in the fire barn, that when you have just the little cardboard ones, they can very easily be stepped on, and then they're
And
not
get thrown
effective.
out.
So these are actually hard-sided ones that are not gonna collapse like a cardboard one would, and then to use the blue boards in areas where you don't have to worry about it quite so much. In addition to that, that includes exterior rodent devices, which we do not currently have. She had mentioned specifically that would be important this time of year, where you have more influx into the warmer areas as it gets colder outside. That's not something we've done in the past.
You know, what?
We have never had a rodent problem. We've never even seen mouse turds. To speak of rodent problem. So I think Orkin is doing a marvelous job.
is it worth an extra $550 a month
Or
or a year?
I think it is. I make a motion that we stick with Orkin. I've been very happy with them when it comes to the bugs, him showing up. And we have not had a rodent problem whatsoever.
There isn't a better place you can use that $500 in the township than on rodent, and you got a better quote for the same competency.
Yeah, I suppose I could give it to the Fraser Township for the scenic park. I got a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
I would make a motion that we accept the
You can't.
Griffin Pest Control. Nobody seconded your motion.
I'll second.
All right, we got a vote on Griffin.
What's the motion?
Go with Griffin.
So
We'll
did
do
you
a
find out
roll
where
call.
where they come from or no?
No.
I did not get a response since after hours. I don't know if she, I mean,
Well, there's been a motion and seconded to vote, but we're gonna take Griffin, so we'll do a roll call on it.
Campbell,
Yes.
Davidson,
No.
Cruz,
Only if we can look at it and, or if we try them and they are not doing what they said they were going to do, that we have the option to change.
We
the
will
option
leave
to
immediately.
revisit. We have the option to revisit on anything, any service that we
The
Within
motion
3
is up,
years?
the motion is a thumb up or thumb down vote.
Yeah, you either take them or you
may I ask, just how long is that contract for? Is it just a year for
It's
either one of
a
them?
monthly payment.
Oh,
It's a monthly payment contract, so.
Because if they don't do their job,
Get rid of them.
they're done.
Yes.
Class,
No.
DeShano.
Yes,
All right,
It says on this agreement here that either party shall extend from month to month, and either party having the ability to cancel this agreement upon a 60-day notice.
everything's figure outable.
so when it comes to the sewer rate adjustment, there were some questions asked late this afternoon, and I couldn't get any answers, so we'll probably have to table the sewer rate adjustment until next month, until I get the answers to the questions. So we'll table that one more month. Master plan. The master plan is in front of us right now to approve this particular draft, to start the 63-day review, public review period. So we looked at this, it was either June or July, in fact, it could be back as far as April, that we looked at this originally. We sent in some questions that they changed for us, and those changes are part of this master plan. And so I'm making a motion to approve the draft master plan for the 63-day public review period to begin.
So it will start tomorrow on 1/9. Publishing of the notice will be on 1/10, which would then officially start the 63 days.
No, the 63 days starts tomorrow, and
That's what I just said.
it will be in the paper this Thursday.
Just-
I
Has it
took
already been sent?
a chance that we were going to approve the draft and begin the 63 days.
Correct. This Thursday's the 10th.
This Thursday is the 11th.
Well, the
To be
Thursday is when it's gonna be published, but it's gonna speak of it starting on the 9th. It starts the 63 days. At the, in February, we will turn in to the newspaper
A second notice on 2/19.
February 21st,
When
That's-
it's
that's the day
published.
it's
is when it's published, to the 15 days prior, and on March 14th, they will have a public hearing to hear any complaints of people that have read this in the last 63 days. Which you know, because this is, I'm reading it off the minutes from the last planning commission.
I'm reading it off the email.
So I have a question about this, and this question has come up several times. Right within the introduction of this master plan, it clearly says that this document is a culmination of the efforts of the Caucasian Township Planning Commission to create and adopt an official master plan. This process greatly valued the input from the community, and therefore the document reflects their wishes and concerns in regard to their community. And I'm curious when the last time was we had a community survey to do with this master plan, because I don't recall seeing anything. What year was the last community survey done? 2018?
And I think that's possibly the problem with the master plan, because it's taken so long to try to go forward that we haven't had a recent survey as to what do people see, what do they want? What does Colin look like?
Well, in
They've had
6
about
years, a lot has
8
changed.
public hearings on it. So,
But that's not the same as community survey. A community survey actually seeks out the whole of the community,
the
not
last
who will
one, we
show
got
up.
600 back out of 19.
Okay. That's still 600 more people
That's
that don't
really
show
good.
up, right? That's
That's-
actually decent, and let's think about what's happened since 2018. 2018, we had all of the stuff with the wind ordinance and all of the uproar with that. After 2018, when those surveys came in, we had a recall, a successful recall election of a supervisor. So obviously, what was going on in 2018 wasn't really sitting well with people if they successfully recalled. That's a pretty big deal. Since then, we had the solar ordinance that's taken place. We've had the changes with the medical marijuana, the recreational marijuana, all that stuff that happened. We've had ballot initiatives that have brought that up. A lot has happened since 2018. So if we're going to put this in, I guess, if we're going to put this in black and white, that the community was a part of this, but we haven't listened to anything the community has said for the last 6 years, then it
They got
makes me wonder.
63 days. That'll be on the webpage. I made a motion, did anybody second it?
Right now, we're in a conversation about it.
This
About
has
the
been
master
talked
plan.
about, this has been asked many
Discussion.
times. You know, when was the last time we should do a survey? Monitor Township I believe it was Monitor that just did a community survey to see what people wanted. I think that if we actually gave the people who chose to weigh in an opportunity to see what their concern is, then that would help to direct the master plan as far as what exactly we should be working toward. I mean, we hear a lot of things from our residents, like they want the M13 corridor cleaned up. They would like more options as far as even fast food in this area, that they want to be able to just pull in, pull out, grab something to eat on their lunch break. They want it to be more convenient for them to do that. in addition to that, I mean, we have part